If you have a heart to be a foster parent, there are some things that you have to know before you start the process. There's nothing worse than getting yourself into something and then realizing later that, oh, maybe I'm not cut out for this. And so in this video, I am going to cover the 5 things that you have to know before you start on the journey of becoming a foster parent. Now, here in this video, I talked about an update on my husband and I's foster care journey and how we finally came to the decision to pursue foster to adopt. And in this video, I also talked about all of the things that are surprising that you wouldn't think about when you're fostering that you need to know. But today, what I want to cover is 5 more things that you need to know if you want to foster. Now, before we get into the video, we are offering a free adoption training called How to Grow Your Family Through Adoption Successfully Without Losing Time or Hoping the Process. So if you are looking into adoption, whether it's from foster care internationally or newborn adoption, and you're looking for what is the next step I need to take, how do I even get started here? Click the link below to access our free training to learn everything you need to know to get started on the right foot and to do it the right way so that you don't lose a ton of time and money. All right, now let's jump right into the video. So the first thing that you want to know about becoming a foster parent is that the child that's coming into your home may be coming from another home, or this may be the first time that they were removed from their family, their biological family. So if this child is coming from another home, you need to know that the transition is hard, okay? Because the foster kid, a lot of times is attached to their foster parent. I mean, it depends on the home that they're in, obviously, but our experience as foster parents is that our foster kids that came to us were with their previous foster parents for 18 months. So they were pretty attached to them and they're pretty young. They're 4 and 2. And so that's one of the things that I didn't think about when we started the foster care journey was how that transition from one home to the other really impacts the kids, especially when they're really attached to the previous foster parents and then they come into your home. So what's happening is, you may see some behaviors just because they miss their previous foster parents. You're gonna need time to adjust. They need time to adjust. And when the kids are really young, toddler, like under 5, they really don't understand what's going on. They don't know why they were with, Mike and Sally for so long and they consider them their mom and dad, and now they have to come live with you. And it's hard to put that into words for the kids to help them understand about the foster care system and what's really going on. So the first thing that you need to be aware of is the pain and the possible trauma that comes with the transition from one foster home to the other. The number 2 thing that you need to know when your foster child or children are coming into your home from another previous home is that it's gonna take some time to adjust, okay? Now, foster parenting is something that I've always wanted to do. It's been on my heart for years, and I actually really have a heart to foster older kids. But my husband and I, we agreed on starting with whatever age we felt comfortable with. And so at this point for us, there were children. It would be for children that are younger than our youngest child. Our youngest child is 7, and so we're fostering a 4 and a 2-year-old. And so the second thing that you really need to know about fostering, especially when the kids are coming from a different home, is that it's gonna take you a while to adjust, okay? And you can't expect the kids to just take to you right away and to just, fall into your routine right away. They're adjusting to you. You have to adjust to them. So it takes a few weeks. It might even take a few months for them to feel fully adjusted into your home. So the number 2 thing you need to know is lots and lots of patience, lots and lots and lots of grace, lots and lots and lots of loves and hugs, and really coming to an understanding with the kids about where they're at and why they may be crying or sad or calling for the mom and dad or whatever, is you just need to be aware of that, and it just takes time. Just like it would take you time, if you moved somewhere. It takes time to adjust to the city, to your surroundings, to your new home, to the neighborhood, to all of that. Think about that when the kids are moving into your home. You're used to your home, you're used to your friends and your family, but your foster kids are not, okay? So number 2, lots of patience, and it takes time for everybody to adjust to each other. The third thing that you need to know when you are starting a foster care journey is to really lean on your foster care specialist. So before you become a foster parent, you have to become licensed, okay? So you usually will call up one of the foster care agencies in your city and say, hey, I want to become a foster parent. You have to go through the classes, and then you have to get your license. Okay, once you get your license, and once you actually say yes to a child coming into your home, you are assigned a foster care specialist. At least most agencies do that. So you're usually assigned a foster care specialist, which is basically the person that works with your agency that you keep in contact with. So they're your point of contact for you with your foster care agency to help you with your foster child. So you call them for any questions you have. If your foster child's having a behavior that you don't know what to do after you've tried everything, that's the person to call. They also come into your home once a month, checking on you, checking on the foster children to make sure that everything is going well. So they're your main point of contact. You really want to lean into your foster care specialist, okay, because they're in your corner, they're advocating for you. Your state, obviously there's a state worker involved. Here in Nebraska, it's DHHS, the Department of Health and Human Services, but I know it's called something different in different states. Your state worker, the person that works with your state, they may or may not be available to answer questions, okay? And state workers are notorious for not returning calls, for not returning emails, and for just kind of, there are some that are amazing, but my experience anyway with a lot of state workers is it's just they're hard to get a hold of because their caseload is so big and they have so many families to see and children to oversee that it's just, I guess what I'm saying is that I would not expect to lean on the state worker. I would really encourage you to lean on your foster care specialist, okay? Because even if you can't get in contact with the state worker for whatever you need, the foster care specialist at least can maybe contact them on your behalf to try to get a foster response, okay? So for example, when our foster kids came into our home, one of the things that we needed to do was to transfer them to a new daycare that's closer to our house because the daycare they used to go to was just a little far out and it would just be easier for us to have one closer to a house. So the way that works is Title 20 gets involved, but your state worker is supposed to give you all of the paperwork and the information that you need to be able to make the transition smooth. Well, we've had issues with communication with our state worker, and so I just leaned on my foster care specialist and just asked her to, please move things along, and she was very helpful. And so again, my number 3 advice would be lean on your foster care specialist and just know that your state workers are really busy. They have a really busy workload. They mean well, and so don't take offense to them not getting back to you. But if you do have something really pressing and you need to get done and your state worker is not getting back to you, do call your foster care specialist, your foster care agency, and they can hopefully help you kind of get things moving along. The number 4 thing that you need to know when you start fostering is that if you're going to foster children that are not in school yet, you may decide to be a stay-at-home mom and take care of them at home, or you may decide that they need to go to daycare. That's your preference. It depends on your family dynamics and kind of where you are in life. We have chosen for our foster children to be in daycare because I work full-time and so does my husband, and so I cannot stay home full-time with them. So with daycare, Title 20 covers daycare expenses, okay? And so it can be a lot of paperwork to get Title 20. So as I said previously, we needed to transfer our foster children to a new daycare. So that meant that we had to fill out some Title 20 paperwork. We had to find a daycare and all of these things. And so just be aware that if you are going to use a daycare because your foster children are younger, you will not be staying home with them, that you are going to need paperwork for Title 20, especially if you need to transfer them to a new daycare. Okay, so there is paperwork involved. It's going to take some back and forth between you and the state worker. Again, if you can't reach a state worker, make sure that you get the foster care specialist in line, and they hopefully can get things moving along for you. Okay, now the number 5 thing that you need to know before you become a foster parent is you have to learn to be organized, okay? Now, your foster children have so much paperwork that you have to keep track of. So if they're taking medications, you normally have to keep a medication log, and you have to keep track of everything you're giving them every single day. So it's a daily medication log. If you do respite care, meaning if you have a family that's going to babysit your foster kids for how much ever time you need, that has been approved by your foster care agency, and they have medication, there's paperwork involved there because that family has to also fill out all the paperwork. And so you have to keep all those things organized so you can turn them in every month. The Title 20 paperwork that I talked about before, you also want to keep track of all of that. You're going to get initial placement paperwork that basically says that, yes, you are the new foster parents, you are the new caretaker for these children under the supervision of the state. So you're going to need to put that paperwork somewhere so that you keep it safe, because you'll need to show it. Also, WIC, for example, if you are receiving WIC or you are eligible to receive WIC, which helps with, like milk, food, fruits, veggies, and stuff at the store, you also need to do paperwork for that. And so once the children transition to your home, or if you're their first home placement, you're going to need to fill out the paperwork and go into the office and do appointments for that. When it comes to doctor appointments, dentist appointments, whenever you go for a doctor visit for your foster children, you want to keep a copy of the summary of the visit, because likely your foster care specialist is going to want to see that. The CASA, if one is involved, is going to want to see that. The guardian ad litem probably is going to want to see it, and maybe the caseworker. And so you want to get really good at getting organized. I ended up I had a folder that the previous foster family actually gave me because they already had a bunch of paperwork in there. So that was really nice, because then I just stick the paperwork in there and keep everything in one place. It may be easier for you to scan and maybe save things on your computer, but you just are going to have to learn to be organized, especially if you're taking in more than one child, because you are now tracking paperwork for 2 or 3 or 4 children, how many you're taking into your home. Okay, so that's the number 5 thing. I left that for last because not everybody likes to organize things, but for your foster children, you have to learn to be organized, because you have to turn in paperwork. And also, when the guardian ad litem comes to visit, however much time they come to visit, it's good to have all that paperwork, because then you can just, if you forgot that, I don't know, they went to the doctor's office 3 months ago, if you go through your paperwork, you can see that, oh yeah, we went to the doctor's office 3 months ago, and this is what the doctor said, So you just kind of have that paper trail that you can show whenever you need it when you keep things organized, okay? So I'm so glad to know that this is something that's really on your heart, and for staying throughout this whole video and listen to these 5 things. So I'm gonna go over them really quick again to recap. The 5 things that you need to know if you're considering being a foster parent. Number 1, when your foster child is transitioning from a different home to yours, know that there's going to be some pain and trauma associated with that is going to take a lot of patience, okay? Number 2, give yourself and the child time to adjust to your home. It may take a few weeks, it may take a few months, but it's going to take time to adjust. Number 3, lean on your foster care specialist. They're there to help you, so that if you can't get a hold of the state worker, you always know that you can talk to your foster care specialist. Number 4, Title 20 is really important if you are going to have your foster children in daycare, because that is what you need. That's going to be covering the daycare expenses. And then number 5, stay as organized as you can, because it's going to make your life so much easier in the long run when you keep everything in one place, from doctor appointments to dentist visits to WIC things to your placement documents to your medication logs. You want to keep all of that organized, all right? Now, earlier in the video, I mentioned a free training that we offer called How to Grow Your Family Through Adoption Successfully Without Losing Time or money in the process. So if that's you and you want to adopt but you don't know where to start, this is the best place for you to start. It's absolutely free and you can watch it in your own time. So click the link below to get access to that free training. Now, if you want to know more about fostering, check out this video right here next, and I will see you in the next video. All right, bye-bye.